everybody. My name is Nathan Ellison, and this is part 3 of our Getting Unstuck workshop series, where we're looking at how our beliefs influence our depression. If you have not seen part 1 or part 2, I'm going to have you pause this video, go back and watch those two first, because everything we talk about today will build directly off of the last two. If you have seen the first two videos, you may be asking yourself, what do I do now? Now I am understanding how depression is affecting me in my thoughts, feelings, behaviors, and emotions. And I'm understanding my unhelpful thinking styles and my schemas. But what do I do now? And that's what we're going to talk about today. And so what we're going to start with is what we call self-affirmations or positive self-talk. If you or someone you know has felt depressed before, you probably understand that a lot of the times it's a very negative headspace, a very negative thinking styles, and very negative self-talk. So what we want to do is start to combat that with self-affirmations that are positive and uplifting to us. Affirmations can focus on several categories, such as character traits, physical attributes, skills, or accomplishments that you've done. Start your affirmations with the phrase, I am, such as, I am a good friend. Keep them short, keep them positive, and use feeling words when you can, such as, I am proud of myself. And most importantly, keep them focused on you. They are self-affirmations, after all. So some examples of this might be, I am proud that I am hardworking, or I am thankful for my strong legs. And when you think of self-affirmations, write down as many as you can. That way, when you're feeling these negative self-talk come on from depression, you have something to rely back on. You have something to read that you wrote down of positive self-talk, positive self-affirmations. And you might feel stuck when you're doing this. So some questions to ask yourself might be, when was a time that you felt proud of yourself and why? Have you ever forgiven someone that has hurt you? Have you ever received a compliment that you agree with? And what would your best friend or a loved one say about you? And sometimes we may feel guilty for doing this. We're socialized to ignore or minimize our positive characteristics. Unfortunately, when we do that, it causes us to dwell on the negative characteristics about us, dwell on the negatives overall. So practicing self-affirmations helps bring about a balance and improve our mood. And again, like I said, if you have written these down, times you may be focusing on the negative, you have something to refer back to read off, to think about some positive self-talk. Another response we want to do to that, to depression, is what we call an alternative response worksheet. If you watched video 1, you know we talked about a cross-sectional formulation. And this is the alternative to that. This is the second part to that. So what this is it takes our situation we thought about before in that cross-sectional formulation, and we start to think about alternative thoughts, behaviors, feelings, and an outcome that we want to do differently. And so when we do this, the overall thing we want to remember is we want our alternative thoughts to be realistic and be believable. What are things that are tangible we can do, things we can feel, and behaviors that we can do that are realistic and believable? So let's look at that situation again. Remember, this is the when, where, what, with whom, and what did you feel depressed about question. The original example was, I have a group assignment due for my class, and I asked a fellow classmate to be my partner, but she declined. This is the example we're going to run with again, the situation we're going to go with through this alternative response worksheet. And this might be helpful to grab that cross-sectional formulation you did from video 1, so you know what alternatively you were looking to do in this one. So first, let's look at our alternative thoughts and images. Questions to ask yourself might be, are these thoughts helpful? Are the depressed thoughts 100% true or accurate 100% of the time? What are other ways of looking at this, and what is the bigger picture? So some of these alternative thoughts to the situation might be, she might have already had a partner. Or maybe, I've done well in this class so far, so I might not be stupid. or even not everyone is going to like me, and that's okay. Next, we're going to look at some alternative behaviors. What could you do that would be more helpful for you, others, this situation? What are some coping strategies that might be helpful? So some coping strategies that you could use could be deep breathing, maybe temporarily distracting yourself, seeking support from a friend or family member, doing a pleasurable activity, or even using an alternative response worksheet to think about alternatives that you could think and feel and do. Next, we're going to look at alternative feelings. What are feelings that might be more helpful in the situation? What if you acted or thought differently about the situation? How might these changes help you feel different? So looking at the situation and knowing these alternative thoughts I'm having now, maybe my feelings are more optimistic, confident, relaxed, or maybe I'm just feeling neutral over it all. I'm not feeling an extreme one way or another. Now we want to look at what's an alternative outcome. So the question is, what was the original outcome in our cross-sectional formulation? And what would we like the new outcome to be? The original outcome is I left my class early and emailed my professor to assign me a partner. Next time, this new outcome, I would like to say, thanks anyways, and I'll ask a person who I've worked with well in the past. Doing these differently helps us plan for the future in case something similar happens again. So we're not being reactive, but instead we're being proactive in our thoughts, our feelings, our behaviors. Overall, some questions to ask yourself might be, for alternative thoughts, what are other ways of looking at the situation? Am I looking at the whole picture? What might be a more helpful way of thinking about the situation? Questions to ask yourself for alternative behaviors. What could I do different in the moment that would be more helpful? What is the best thing to do for me, for others, or for the situation? If my feared situation happens, how will I cope? And what have I done in the past that was successful? And some questions to ask yourself for alternative feelings. What might it be like if I acted or thought differently? When I'm not feeling this way, do I think about the situation differently? And are there any strengths or positives in me or the situation that I might be ignoring? Thinking through all these alternatives, like I said, helps us plan ahead in case this happens again and gain a new perspective on a situation that we may currently be in. So grab a cross-sectional formulation, fill that out. After you do that, grab an alternative response worksheet and fill that out. Start to plan ahead for if you feel depressed, if you're reacting to a situation again. Keep that list of self-affirmations, that positive self-talk on hand, so you can refer back to it from time to time. Again, you can contact us at our website, caps.tamu.edu. We have a list of resources available on our website as well as on our social media pages.